Hello everyone and welcome back to my Let's Play of Hiveswap Friendsim. Last time we met Wanshi, a young jade blood who left the brooding caverns without permission to try and go to a convention of some sort. And she loves books and she's really obsessed with the Warrior Cat series, I say, as my own cat runs back my book, runs past my computer, but... Well, not the Warrior Cat series, the Soldier Per Beast series, but I know what they mean, because I'm also a nerd, so... Yeah. I like her, she is me. Anyway, I think we got 2 new trolls today, and we're getting very close to the end. Like, yeah, we've only got a few. Oh, I should not have scrolled that far. I was already spoiled on that though, so it doesn't really matter. Of cult and captivation. Okay, this is going to be fun. Another strict dichotomy here with a burgundy blood and a purple blood, it looks like. This guy looks like a rock star, and this person, I hope they're nice. You crash landed on Alternia 16 long episodes ago, and sometimes you feel like you've been here forever. You've had many adventures and met many Alternians, none of whom have become your friends. But now, for some reason, you have a hunch that you're near the end of your Alternian travels. For one thing, you seem to be coming to the edge of the populated region you've been walking through all the time you've been here. For another, the intense craving that has animated you throughout the journey feels like it might be waning. It's not quite gone, but it's like a diner who stuffed himself to bursting, but is still seeking that last sweet morsel that will make his meal complete. You're still on the prowl for the very sweetest morsel of friendship. Alright, oh, you're like a magician. And you look like, sort of like a mechanic? Fozzer Velyes. Oh, this is dramatic music. And the background is even animated a little bit with the clouds moving. The night has turned foggy and you can't see far in any direction, but you seem to be surrounded on every side by bare ground, hummocked and pitted, almost like a weird abstract sculpture and covered with greenish moss. Based on the experiences you've had with Alternian flora, you imagine the moss is probably poisonous, acidic, explosive, or something of that nature. Suddenly a shadow looms up out of the darkness, making you jump, but it's only a leaning signpost. As you move closer, you see that the sign says, "Welcome to Happy Absence Pit Park." Before you can figure out what that might be, you hear a voice muttering to itself in the fog and a sound like dirt being shoveled. Shovel, shovel, toil and trouble, lowbloods of the world unite. You move cautiously towards the voice until the figure of a troll emerges from the fog. He seems to be digging in the hard, bare ground. There is a tide in the affairs of trolls which, taken at the flood, leads on to the workers' paradise. You clear your throat and the troll turns swiftly. Who's there? Who's there, I say? You announce soothingly that you're just a poor wayfaring stranger. Not a ghost or any nonsense like that? You confirm that you are not. Good, because I don't believe in them. I am a dialectical materialist. Well, if you're not a ghost, who are you? You explain that you're a humble alien who recently, well, not so recently, crashed on Alternia, and who's been looking ever since for... Here you blushingly turtle off into a mumble. The troll snorts and comes close to study you. His breath is not of the freshest. An alien? Well, you are the color of cheese. What color cheese is that? But it could be makeup. You could be a high blood in disguise, come to watch poor little Fozzer Velyes pursuing his humble profession of pit perturbing for some unknown reason of your own. So is he grave digging or grave robbing? Fozzer rubs at the exposed skin of your arm to see if the makeup will come off. It doesn't, but he's still suspicious. A real alien would know what outer space is like. Describe outer space to me. You describe attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion, watching sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. You express the belief that all those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. These authentic depictions seem to satisfy Fozzer. He nods his head and seems to think. He doesn't appear to be a fast thinker. Finally, he seems to have an idea. Do the cheese entities where you come from have a strong consciousness of class struggle? You have no idea what he's talking about, but you were always good at guessing the right answer on multiple choice tests. You assure him that the people where you come from have such a strong consciousness of class struggle that they use it to jack up their cars when they get flat tires. A big smile overspreads Fozzer's face and he pumps his fist in the air. Pleased to meet you, comrade alien. Okay, I was going to say he's like a communist, which is fine, I guess. All power to the workers. I imagine that finding me performing the high honest labor of the working class makes you feel right at home. You assure him that it does. I suppose that you wish you could share the simple proletarian joy and sorrows of the Alternian oppressed classes. You're not sure what proletarian means, but sharing joy and sorrow sounds like a hopeful prelude to friendship. So you say you were just thinking you would like to share that kind of joy and sorrows. Easily done, comrade. Here, take the soil perturbation lance. You can enter into solidarity with the Alternian working class right now. No, don't thank me. Freedom, brotherhood, and equality is my motto. Conduct your perturbations right here, if you please. He points to where he was shoveling, and you begin shoveling there too. The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprise there. And before long, you're sweating profusely. But no exertion is too great for the pursuit of friendship. Fozzer watches you labor with brotherly satisfaction. Class solidarity is a wonderful thing, isn't it? From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. So, just to pass the time while you labor in solidarity, what do you think of our planet? What has been your impression of it on your visit from outer space? Gonna be completely honest, it's by far the worst place you've ever seen or heard of. The feeling comes over you suddenly that nothing could be more important than truth. Truth is at the foundation of all real friendship. Truth sets you free. Honesty is the best policy. So you take a deep breath and say you hope you won't give offense, but that in your opinion, Alternia is the nastiest, ugliest, cruelest, most inhospitable, and most unfair place you've ever seen or heard of in a long life of travel and study. Even the plants are bloodthirsty. Even the soil is hard and mean. You've made some/many/no friends here, but you've heard it's also possible to make friends with lions, bears, killer whales, and other wild and dangerous creatures. In fact, often here in Alternia, you felt that you've been locked in a cage with a bunch of such wild and dangerous creatures. As you've talked, you've been watching Fozzer anxiously for signs of anger. You're surprised to see that instead he seems to be loving it. And what about our political system? You've already put your foot in it, so you go ahead and put the other one in too. You express the opinion that a violent, rigidly stratified insectile social structure created solely to generate soldiers for a mad project to conquer the entire galaxy might raise eyebrows in some quarters. You admire natural selection and survival of the fittest as much as the next person, but this is overkill on a titanic scale. As you've been speaking, Fozzer's smile has grown wider and wider, and he's shown other signs of approval, such as jumping up and down and whirling around. He pumps his fist in the air. Forward to perfect socialism. Okay, socialist, not communist. Communist, my bad. It's so good to talk with someone who hasn't been hypnotized from Wigglerhood with the counter-revolutionary pap. Someone who sees conditions in Alternia for what they really are, who sees the evil of the High Bloods. Someone who will march in the vanguard of workers' revolution to face unflinchingly the onslaught of the aristocracy, perhaps, nay, probably, to die in a hail of bullets, but never turn their backs on the people. Oh, let me embrace you, comrade alien. He does so. He's oily and smells like mossy soil and poor ooze, but this does not dampen your spirits. What better preamble for making a suggestion of friendship? Agreeing with people about politics never fails to bring friendship closer. I mean, you're not wrong. Oh, look at his little blush! Aw, what a cutie! But before he can bring it up, Fozzer, having first kissed you on both cheeks, continues. But we mustn't allow our celebration of the people's revolution to interfere with the honest labor that enables us. I'm holding you back from your ticket to the workers' paradise. Please proceed with your soil perturbation. All power to the people. Death to arbitrary hemospectral discrimination. Forward, comrade. He waves his hand with a flourish and you start digging again. You wonder if it would be just as revolutionary if you traded places so Fozzer could do the digging and you could do the speechifying, but you don't wish to disturb the perfect harmony now existing between the two of you. Instead, you use what little available breath to inquire what all this soil perturbation is in aid of. Why, a coal pit, of course. Didn't you see the sign? This is the Happy Absence Pit Park, Fozzer Velyes proprietor. Alternia's reactionary tradition is just to put dig coal pits anywhere without second thought, but our revolutionary future demands that we have more respect for the dead, so I've created this wonderful innovation, the Pit Park. There's a clown concert being held not far from here, so I anticipate a brisk demand shortly. Best to be ready for these things. I'm guessing the clown concert is being hosted by our next friend from the next video, because they look like they would have a concert, probably. Having a lot of dead clowns lying around rotting on the property is unpleasant, not to mention unsanitary. Get them underground pronto is our motto here at the Happy Absence Pit Park. You're wondering privately whether a little class solidarity couldn't be extended to the Purple Bloods, remembering your dear friend Caraco Piero, when Fozzer seems to give a jump. No, that is not ghosts. Grateful for an excuse to stop digging, you turn to look in the direction Fozzer is staring, leaning on your soil perturbation lance. You don't see anything but fog. You ask, what is not ghosts? Nothing is. I'm a dialectical materialist, and if any ghosts come around the Happy Absence Pit Park, they should be aware that I won't believe in them, so they might as well go somewhere else. You confess that you don't see anything but foggy darkness and humped and pitted ground, where you now guess piles of cold Alternians' exoskeletons are buried in the coal pits. You don't see any ghosts because there's no such thing, but the past few nights I thought I saw beams of light shining up out of the ground. Almost as if, metaphorically of course, some of the exoskeletons in the coal pit have gotten hold of some flashlights and we're shining them up through chinks in the soil. Look, there it is again. This time you see it. The column of light that flashes up through the fog and is gone, seeming to come from a crack in the ground, where it briefly illuminates in blinding white. Fascinated, you move towards the crack, which is now dark and invisible again. What are you doing? You look at Fozzer in surprise. He seems terrified. You ask tactfully whether he doesn't think you ought to go see what that is. For example, it could be some infrastructure malfunction that could blow the Happy Absence Pit Park and all its inhabitants, living and dead, sky high. You're not even sure they have infrastructure in Alternia, but one can't be too careful. Well, maybe you're right. We are fearless revolutionary cadres, after all. You hear his teeth chattering. You move towards where you think the flash came from, Fozzer close behind you and peering over your shoulder. You can't help wondering where he'll be when the vanguard of his revolution is braving hails of bullets. You very much hope that his revolution, if it ever comes, won't happen while you're around. What is that? Just then, a whole series of lights flash silently up from the ground, making columns through the fog. Fozzer jumps and howls behind you. Non-existent. You tell him there's undoubtedly a logical explanation, though you have to admit that you have a weird feeling just now when the lights appeared. Like a momentary dizziness or a feeling of discontinuity. But you're more curious than ever now. Murmuring comforting things to Fozzer, you start digging right around where the lights you just saw came from. Then it's weird, because you break through some kind of thin crust as if the soil in that particular place is just a few inches thick over a brittle surface that your shovel goes right through like old pottery. You wonder whether you've inadvertently dug into another old coal pit. But why would a bright light be coming out of an old coal pit? And in some weird way, it doesn't feel like a coal pit. It feels like something metaphysical, like reality itself is particularly thin right in that spot. And you've broken through the very fabric of it with your soil perturbation lance. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. You dig around the edges of the hole, enlarging it until it's about a foot wide. The darkness within makes the darkness of Alternian night seem bright by comparison. It's so dark that the soil falling into it and the part of your soil perturbation lance poking into it seems to vanish completely, as if on the other side of that hole, reality itself gives out. You and Fozzer stare curiously down into this hole. So who's gonna jump in first? Suddenly a blinding but strangely blank light bursts out of a hole into your faces, and at the same time there's a deafening sound which seems to vibrate the very framework of reality, like a gigantic needle scratching a gigantic record. I can't pronounce that. Wait, what? You're standing in the foggy night holding a soil perturbation lance that's been handed to you by Fozzer Velyes. He points to where he's just been digging and you begin digging in the same place. The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprise there, and before long you're sweating profusely. But you feel strange, like you were just standing somewhere else, doing something else, seeing something else. The afterimages of a blinding light and a deafening sound seem to linger in your eyes and ears, but around you is nothing but dark fog and bare ground humped and pitted. You must have had a dizzy spell. You shake it off and begin perturbing the soil. No exertion is too great for the pursuit of friendship, after all. Fozzer watches you with satisfaction. Honest work is a wonderful thing. All hail the old regime, eh? You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. What do you think of our planet? What's been your impression of it on your visit? It's by far the worst place I've ever heard of. Is this the same thing? Oh, so we said all the same stuff, but no doubt you could have anticipated that blunt honesty like this would give offense, and indeed it seems to have done so. As you finish your remarks, Fozzer is frowning darkly. So, you've come to Alternia as an uninvited guest, only to criticize and judge our civilization, eh? No, no. You know enough about our society, our billions of years of evolution, our painstaking rise from mud-dwelling insect-style ancestors, the political and sociological theories of our statesmen, philosophers, and scientists to make those judgments, do you? Well, no doubt you've done studies establishing what would happen if the hemospectrum groups were placed in different relations to one another. If, for example, rust bloods were the highest group and fuchsia bloods the lowest? Well, no, but I suppose your plan is so similar to Alternia that you have a firm basis on which to apply your preconceptions to us? Not at all, but... And surely your aliens are similar enough biologically and psychologically to trolls to know how we feel about our own society. I thought not. I guessed from the very first that you were nothing but a dilettante, faux socialist, pseudo-intellectual spouting your ivory tower theories without the least idea of what you're talking about. Well, smarty pants alien, I suggest that you take your cheese-like person and your theories home to your own planet. It won't be long before her most high imperial condescension conquers your arm of the galaxy so that we Alternians can return the favor by standing in judgment over your society and politics. In the meantime, I bid you good siderium? Sidarium? I don't know what that word is. Bye? I'm confused. Also, the background, like, shimmered for a minute. And with that, Fozzer Velyes seizes his soil perturbation lamps as well as your hopes and dreams and stalks off into the foggy night. So, what happened? He's flipping us off too. Okay. What was that? What was that light? It like it sent us back in the timeline a bit. And of course it didn't autosave. Thank you. That's much appreciated. Not really. But I'm gonna talk and I'm just gonna skip to where we were. But it sent us back in time a bit, but at the same time things were different. So did we like hop universes? Did somebody get like mind wiped? What happened exactly? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go back to that last choice and I'll see you in a second. Bye. Okay, you suppose it's no worse than a lot of other places, with some good points and some bad. As a guest, it's not only polite to say nice things about your host's home planet. Besides, meeting Fozzer has stoked your desire for a sweet friendship morsel, and a little praise and flattery often goes a long way to make people like you. So with the little breath you have to spare from your digging, you tell Fozzer that you found Alternia most interesting. The fierce rush of life here induces a salutary wakefulness, and boredom is virtually unknown. Also, the social structure arising from the hemaspectrum and the multidimensional relationship matrix is really unusual, producing a fascinating array of possible interactions among people. You're looking forward to the day when you can tell your grandchildren about it. As you're speaking, a satisfied smile overspreads Fozzer's face. I'm glad you recognize the nobility of our ancient society with its orderly hierarchy and naturally evolved degrees of privilege, reflecting naturally evolved degrees of ability. You're pleased that your words have met with approval, but you're still a little troubled. You have an odd deja vu sensation that this whole exchange could have gone quite differently. Maybe even did go quite differently sometime in the past or in some parallel universe. You inquire timidly whether the total domination of the lower bloods by the higher on Alternia doesn't sometimes feel like oppression. Never! I myself am only a rust blood, so I lack the privileges of the higher bloods, but the most important thing for society is that everyone should be in their appointed place and do the things they're suited for. If all the passengers in a rowboat keep their seats and row in the same direction, the boat will quickly reach its destination. If the passengers all jump up and start running around and grabbing the other's oars, the boat will capsize and all will be lost. You remark diplomatically that Alternia isn't a rowboat rowing towards a destination. You're wrong! A planet is very much like a rowboat advancing through the black water of space, and as for our destination, all of us on Alternia aim at but a single goal every hour of every day, to serve her most high imperial condescension in conquering her glorious galaxy-wide empire. Long live the Empress! Well, you suppose the sense of being part of something larger than yourself makes up for a lot. It does. And naturally evolved systems are almost always more robust than artificially designed ones. They are. And as true to Alternia's social structure, it does bring some semblance of order to a collection of 12 disparate troll subtypes. It is! Fozzer beams at you fondly. There's nothing that warms the heart like someone who thinks you're right about everything. It's so wonderful to find someone, even someone who looks like a piece of cheese, who is so intelligent and understands society and politics so perfectly. Finally, a true friend. Victory! That's weird. Something weird's happening. But I don't think we'll get the answers in this route. There's just the short... Yeah, come on, autosaves. Why you do this to me? There's just the short bad route left, so I'll see you when I get to the choice again. Okay, this was the first time we talked to him before the light happened. So you suppose it's no worse than a lot of other places, with some good points and some bad. And, I'm just going to skip to when we see... Yeah, he's upset now. But Fozzer doesn't look as pleased as you'd hoped. So you find Alternia agrees with you. Oh yes, very much, you pant. You find it interesting and fascinating. Definitely. To you, the spectacle of those who happen to have been born with certain blood colors exploiting and oppressing those who have not is just a picturesque detail. Well, you wouldn't go so far as to... You find nothing objectionable in a society where the strong kill the weak at will based on nothing more than the color of a bodily fluid? Where the upper classes see the lower as little more than inanimate objects whose only purpose is to serve them? Where the whole corrupt society is structured solely to breed cannon fodder for a psychotic empress's mad plan to conquer the entire galaxy for more peoples to oppress? That certainly wasn't what you... While the streets run with rust, orange, and gold blood, you stand unconcernedly and remark how interesting and fascinating Alternia is? While the fish people and their bluish lackeys strike the pap from the mouths of low-blood wigglers, you smile pleasantly and remark how unusual Alternia is. Certainly not, but one can't judge other cultures by one's own. Oh, you can't dodge your class responsibility that way, you cur. You so-called intellectuals try to hide your fawning servility to the bosses by pretending to view society objectively, without moral judgments, when all the time you're simply crypto-imperialist lapdogs. And you come to the Happy Absence Pit Park pretending solidarity with the oppressed. Pshaw! I see now that you're nothing but a cat's paw of the oppressor class. Nothing but a cheese-colored Judas Iscariot sent as a spy. Traitor, bootlicker, sycophant, murderer, monopolist, profiteer, slave trader, cannibal, parasite, technocrat, gangster, ectoplasm. No, you try to object, but Fozzer seizes the shovel from you and turns away. Turncoat, narc, double-crosser, weasel, hijacker, vulture, Visigoth, breathalyzer. Some of those were nonsense. You watch his back recede from into the fog, and your heart sinking with the wreck of your hopes and dreams for friendship. Game over. Okay, that was really weird. I have some things to say in a minute. Graveyard shift. You had a strange sense of deja vu. Yeah. So, as for Fozzer's character himself, he's okay. I'm not super fond of him, but I don't dislike him either. He's very passionate about his ideals, and I can appreciate that. I want to know what the heck that bright light was, because apparently it like reset us somehow. Like I thought it might have been like the scratch at first, but no, this is post-scratch Alternia. So I don't know what's going on. It's obviously something, but I don't know what, because I don't think... Like, I also thought it might have been, like, retcon powers like John had in Act 6, but... I don't know. Something weird's going on, and I hope... We don't have a lot of story left, so hopefully they explain it. Like, they'll probably explain some stuff near the end. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Anyway... Thanks for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!